Hi everybody. Well, I hope you're all getting excited. It's nearly Christmas now. How many more sleeps, Ava?
3.
3 more sleeps to Christmas Day. Very excited. Well, look, I hope you're all enjoying the KCC Christmas Advent series. I know I have, and thank you very much to everyone that's contributed. It's been such a blessing. I'm going to cover December the 23rd, and this focuses on 3 gift boxes. So we're going to start off with our focus scripture, and that's from Luke chapter 2, and I'm going to read from verses 8 to 12. So after they had heard the king, they went on their way. And the star that they had seen, when it rose, went ahead of them until it stopped over the place where the child was. When they saw the star, they were overjoyed. On coming to the house, they saw the child with his mother Mary, and they bowed down and worshipped him. Then they opened their treasures and presented him with gifts of gold, frankincense and myrrh. And having been warned in a dream not to go back to Herod, they returned to their country by another route. Well, I'll talk a wee bit about my childhood and certainly what Christmas meant to me. I was always taught in Sunday school that the origin of giving gifts came from the fact that God gave us his precious son, Jesus Christ, and obviously the Magi that presented the 3 gifts to Jesus. This was the kind of origins of giving presents. I always remember as a little boy with my brother that probably about 4 weeks before Christmas, we would start compiling a wish list or some of the presents that we would like to see on Christmas Day. And then a week before Christmas Day itself, we would have some hot chocolate and we'd be sitting in front of the fire, and Mum and Dad would put our letters up the chimney, up the lum, and they would fly off into the sky, and then they would go with Santa and he would know what presents to bring us on Christmas Day. I always remember as well, the kind of practice of leaving out porridge oats for the reindeer or a carrot for the reindeer, and then Santa always liked a mince pie and milk, which strangely enough was always eaten the next morning when I got up. I was always very excited on Christmas Eve, and I can tell that Ava is as well, and I always took ages to get to sleep. And I always remember on Christmas Day, Mum and Dad didn't have a lot, and they worked hard to provide for us. And I tended to get, what I needed as opposed to what I wanted when I was a wee boy. But I'll come back to that point later on. Now, the focus scripture used the word treasures when they were talking about the gifts. And really for me, it's the significance of these gifts that I want to focus on today. And we'll start off with gold. We know that gold's a precious metal. It's a valuable commodity. And in scripture it symbolises divinity. Now the Magi knew the scenario that was before them was the fulfilment of prophecy. And before them actually stood God in the flesh. And we know that when the Queen of Sheba visited Solomon, she brought gifts of gold. So gold, the gift of gold, recognises all these points, and who in particular Christ was, the King of Kings. Now frankincense, this is a white resin or a gum, and it's actually obtained from a tree, and what you do is you make incisions in it, and it's highly fragrant when it's burned, and it can be used in worship as a pleasant offering to God. It actually symbolises holiness and righteousness. And it has some significance because it was symbolic of Christ's willingness to become a sacrifice. Jesus wholly gave himself like a burnt offering. And then we look at myrrh. This is from Arabia, and it's obtained similarly to frankincense. It was a spice that was used for embalming, and it symbolises bitterness, suffering, and affliction. And this is a bit like the baby Jesus, because he would grow into manhood and he would suffer greatly. He would pay the ultimate price for everyone, for all of mankind, by giving his life for all on the cross. So these three gifts were very prophetic when they were given by the Magi, because they almost like foretold the story of how Jesus' life was to unfold. If we summarise all this, I believe we give presents as a sign of our love for each other. And God's present of Jesus to the whole world, is no different. He gave the world what it needed, not what it wanted. A bit like me when I was a wee boy when I got my gifts. You may not know this, but Jesus is the ultimate present. He is the best present any of us could ever wish for. And there's a number of reasons for that. You see, Jesus is the hope of the world. Jesus is the light that overcame